Hard work does not necessarily amount to fortune, and bad deeds are not always punished. The world does not know a balanced, all-encompassing coherence you can rely on. Being in harmony with the path dates back to the 19th century, when the West declared itself modern and the East used it in contrast. It reflects our contemporary romanticized version of what we see as a traditional Chinese perspective on harmony, rather than do justice to the factual content. How can we become receptive to alternative truths and the tension between the being of things and this piece of order we have created? In antiquity, the notion of the divine energies was not uncommon. It is a pan-Eurasian concept. In India, the idea of a prana, or breath, existed, and in Greece, the pneuma, or life breath, soul, spirit. Although chi is present in all things, it comes in endless degrees. Stone, mud, earth. Everything awe-inducing helps to refine our chi, because then the senses respond with more intensity to the world around us. The one exerting the biggest influence is the one acting by not acting, Wu Wei, which means appearing by not to move or do anything. It is something amorphous and complete that emerged before heaven and earth. After the Big Bang, the cosmos developed into a series of separate elements, subject to laws of space, time, cause and effect. Those laws we consider self-evident, and we cannot change or master them. The level surpassing all others concentrates on the origin of all things at all times, before they take on a form of their own, comparable to a mother giving birth to numerous things. Everything arising from this numerous universe is soft and supple in the beginning, but over time they harden and distinguish themselves from all else. Imagine not just being a human being, but actually a butterfly, dreaming it is a human being. If only we could surpass our human limitations and experience the world from all possible perspectives. We can enter a sumptuous as-if world, giving an impulse to our imagination. Transitions and transformations are expressed by the wild and entirely unlikely stories told in it. We hear statements made by fictitious creatures and stumble upon anecdotes, attempting to show us the world from another point of view. The representations create a world that is formed by language, And by denying that language, we liberate ourselves of the limiting effects of language. Texts that seem to be about nothing but the images are very sensual, very sensory, very colorful. They create a huge emptiness in the mind, but to the eye, they are full of movement. In that moment, we suspend reality and enter an alternative world in which we are better equipped to imagine the most diverse, as if, possibilities. Concepts freeze reality. There are no fixed entities, it is in a flux. It has been proclaimed that there is a self. It has been learned there is no self. On a different, deeper level, none of this exists. It has been taught there is neither a self nor no self. That everything that is true, everything is untrue. It is both true and untrue. If it is true, it does not make it truths. We have become used to the views on tradition and modernity, to classify everything according to a certain spectrum, with on one side of it the traditional world and on the other of it the modern one. According to our definition, a traditional society is one that considers an unchanging personality and an immovable, coherent world as self-evident. It is one that will make you prosper and grow if you stick to the commonly accepted social norms without question. One that hardly has any social mobility and in which you live according to a narrow worldview, hardly offering any room for alternative ideas. The appeal of Buddhism was initially found in the counterbalance it seemed to offer to our ambition and greed. You view the world and every single moment detached and without judgment, so nothing affects you. They have been debunked and diluted to something that is supposed to teach us to take the world as it comes and accept our position in it somehow. The interpretations slightly twist our perspective on the East as being traditional and backward. The translation is unintentionally transformed into a magic formula. It has degenerated into an exotic type of self-help. There's no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, and no spirit. There is no form, no sound, no smell, no taste. There are no tangible objects and no appearances. There is no ignorance and no lifting of ignorance. There is no transcendental wisdom, no reaching, and no non-reaching. Meaning is not of great importance. Recitation is what matters. Hours on end. It has a totally different effect to when you read the text in your own language and try to understand it. Every act turns us in some form, as feedback from the other. In acting, we become the object of action. We do not think about the history out of which it arises. Rather than that, we answer the question in advance with a nod to its supposed pure rationality. The statement itself becomes the actor at the top of the hierarchy. objects to which it refers is also itself. And in describing itself as false, it reverses the direction of action.